Today we'll cover floor number 17 of the Challenge Abyss. The gimmicks on floor number 17 is you're not allowed to have any knights on your team, and you can't trigger outrage. Outrage happens when somebody on your team dies, so don't die. That's pretty straightforward. Now, the gimmicks for this fight is there's a target debuff that happens, and when that's on one of your units, you'll take 20% more damage, and the adds will always attack you. And this adds up because the adds bestow injury. This debuff moves from unit to unit whenever you use a non-attack skill, so you can control somewhat who has the target debuff on them. Now, Krau has a couple of attacks. He's got the swordstorm attack, which will increase the CR for himself and one other ally by 20%, and it can blind your units. And he has a charge attack, which puts a barrier and escort on him and can stun one of your units. It also cleanses 2 debuffs off of him and the team. His whole side gets 2 debuffs cleansed off. The big damage dealing skill he has is his Ziegfreid, or horse skill as we call it. When this skill goes off and it hits somebody who's got the target debuff on them, it will penetrate their defense by 70%, basically killing them. It's hard to survive that. So you need to make sure the unit who has the target debuff is either immortal or invulnerable, or you've got some kind of razor available to bring him back when that skill goes off. And like all Challenge Abyss floors, damage that's based on the target HP is cut in half, so Daydream Joker works, but it works at 50% power. Now, one solution to the challenges of this floor is to kill off all the adds first and then focus down Krau. But if you go this route, you'll still need to make sure you bring buff block or heal block, because at the end of Krau's turn, he gives himself a buff, which can be continuous healing, and that makes the fight drag on. Also, the adds have 50% damage reduction to AoE attacks, and that can also make the fight drag on because it's harder to kill them off quickly. And also, you have to deal with the horse skill going off, and if you're making the fight drag out, you're going to constantly have to deal with your units being killed off by the horse skill, or trying to balance that target debuff onto whatever unit can survive the horse skill. It's a lot of precarious skill, debuff, and unit juggling, and I don't think it's worth doing that. So I came up with this team, and we're going to use it to just burst Krau down with pushers and single target DPS. We're going to ignore the adds, and we're just going to nuke him down and kill him before the horse skill ever happens. If you don't quite have enough damage output to kill him before the horse happens, just make sure you cycle that target debuff onto one of your units who is not the DPS unit, and you'll still be able to limp along and finish him off by the end. One last thing to note is that the adds, the cultists, if you attack with a dual attack skill, they will CR push themselves up by 25%, and when they take a turn, they have a chance to lower the skill cooldowns by 2 turns, so they will cycle Krau through his skills even faster, which can make it difficult. That's why you don't want to go in with a full dual attack cheese team like Terran or Guard. So this is the team that I'm going to run. We are using Kitty Clarissa. Even though she has dual attack in her kit, it's only one unit proccing those dual attacks. If you can turn her passive off, you don't need the ER, but hey, reducing the chance for everyone else to dual attack will make this run a little smoother. I gave her S1 EE for some healing. I didn't check to see if the mobs were immune to restrict. Her EE that gives restrict might be helpful to turn off those CR pushings when she S2s. That might have been the smarter way to go. You can check that yourself. Alots on Spirit's Breath is going to be my principal pusher and attack buffer. He'll make sure my DPS is attack buffed and takes turns. I went with Sid. I gave him a pretty decent damage build, ran relatively high attack on him. The boots I could have changed to attack boots since he's being CR pushed constantly, and probably made this a little cleaner, but he's still on speed boots. I gave him DDJ because even though it's at 50% power, it's still one of the best damage dealing artifacts out there. And Green Lots is my healer. I have him on Magahara's Tome to help cycle his turns. He actually does just fine in this. So you need to get a defense break on Krau. Sid only has like 14% effectiveness plus another 10 from water gun, so he's at 24% effectiveness, which isn't a lot. You need 45% effectiveness to have the max chance to defense break, but he does have a chance to give himself an effectiveness buff, which he got there, and that helped me get a defense break up. That buff procced often enough that I didn't really feel the need to put higher effectiveness on him. With the constant pushing, he was able to proc that skill often enough to maintain a defense break on Krau. Green Lots with his continuous healing buff does really good at keeping everybody healthy. You'll notice every time I use a non-attack skill, that target debuff shifts from person to person. You need to keep an eye on Krau's ultimate skill bar. You can see we're 2 away from his ultimate. Now we're 1 away from his ultimate. If you can kill him before that ultimate goes off, great. If you can't, then you really need to make sure that target buff is on somebody other than your damage dealer. Here I used his, Kitty Clarissa's S2 skill to get rid of escort and the shield, as well as put heal block on him so that he won't be able to buff himself with continuous healing and have it do anything. If you get a chance to burn Sid's S3, you should do it. It's tremendous damage. Unfortunately, there was no defense break to burn that into, but still was able to get it off, and I get the defense break and a slow debuff. The slow debuff is very nice. That will make it difficult for Krau to take turns.
I won't lose to anyone. I'm strong. Is it my turn?
And though my Sid is very well geared, he's on speed boots. If you put a Sid on attack boots, you could do so much more damage than I'm doing and make this fight a lot easier.
I'll show you my ability.
Okay, Krau's ultimate is ready. He's ready to do his S3 horse, which will kill one of my units if he gets to take a turn. And as you can see, he's not going to get a chance to take a turn. The A-Lots combination of CR pushing as well as Kitty for the stripping of the barrier and escort skills, the heal block, and even with the CR pushing that Kitty's giving the enemy team by doing dual attacks is just not enough for them to keep up with. Makes this floor incredibly easy if you have these units and can push this down. I say that and I get hit with a blind, but we will just take a shot that I can kill through a miss here.
Take this. Is it my turn?
Nope, I didn't miss. I got a hit and a kill, and that ends the floor. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section, and I'll see you on floor number 18. Have a great one.